Hey, welcome back. I'm your host, Dr. Jennifer Thompson, and I am so happy that you're with me today. I want to let you into my world a little bit, into the way that I actually think, the things that I come back to when life gets complicated and loud and I feel stuck, or when I am trying to make a decision and I honestly don't know which way to go. Because over the years, through my own healing journey, through my work with my clients, through the reading and studying and falling apart and putting myself back together, there are certain principles that have become like anchors for me. And they're really like laws, universal laws, that once you understand them, you start seeing them everywhere in nature and relationships and the way that energy moves and the way that life starts unfolding. Today, I want to share 3 of them with you, and 3 that we actually don't hear about as often as we do some others. I want to talk about the law of requisite variety, the law of resonance, and symmetry breaking. These aren't concepts that I just find intellectually interesting. These are laws that I live by, and my hope is that by the time this episode is over, you'll have a whole new lens of looking at your own life. And maybe, just maybe, you'll give yourself a little more permission to move through it differently. Let's get started. Okay, so I want to start with the law of requisite variety because this one honestly changed everything for me when I first really understood it. So the law of requisite variety comes from a systems theory. So it was originally developed by W. Ross Ashby. And the simplest way to state it is that in any system, the element with the most flexibility will have the most influence. Or another way that I love to say it is the most adaptable wins. Now, stay with me here because I know that systems theory, it doesn't sound like the most interesting topic, but I promise this is going to land for you in a very personal way. So let me tell you a story about my own life. There was a season in my life where I felt like I was doing everything right. I had the routines, I had the plans, I knew exactly how things were supposed to go. And I held on to that plan very tightly because I had worked hard to build it. And it felt safe, and change felt terrifying. And life, being the loving, relentless teacher that it is, completely dismantled it. Not once, but multiple times. And each time something didn't go according to plan, I would spiral. I'd feel like a failure, like something was wrong with me, like I must have done something wrong for things to fall apart again and again. And then I learned about the law of requisite variety. And something in me, it was just like I could exhale. And it shifted because what this law says is that rigidity is not strength. Flexibility is the strength. The tree that survives the storm isn't the one with the thickest trunk. It's the one whose branches can bend without breaking. And think about water. Water is one of the most powerful forces on earth. It carves canyons, it shapes coastlines, it can wear down stone over time. And it does all of that not by being hard and fixed, but by being endlessly, completely adaptable. It flows around obstacles. It finds another way. It takes the shape of whatever container it holds, and then when the moment is right, it overflows. So this is the law of requisite variety in action. And here's where it gets really personal. So in my healing work, in the sessions that I hold with my clients using the emotion code and the body code, I see this law operating all the time. The people who struggle with the most in their healing are often the ones who are the most rigid, and they are attached to how the healing is supposed to look. I should be over this by now. This shouldn't be affecting me anymore. I've done this much work. Why is it still here? The rigidity creates resistance, and resistance slows the flow. The people who heal in the most profound ways are the ones who can hold their healing with open hands, who can say, I don't know exactly how this is going to unfold, but I trust the process. Who can adapt, who can stay curious instead of controlling. And oh my goodness, did I have to learn that. I mean, I tried to control everything, my relationships, my relationship with my children, everything, trying to control the outcome. So here's the question that I leave with you for this law. Where in your life are you being rigid when flexibility would serve you better? Where are you white knuckling the plan, a relationship, an identity, a timeline when life might be inviting you to bend? You don't have to have the answer right now, of course, but just let that question live in you. All right, so the second law, and this one is really close to my heart in a very deep way. This is one that I live by every single day. The law of resonance. We've heard of the law of attraction, right? The idea that like attracts like. So the law of resonance goes even deeper than that. It says that everything in the universe is vibrating at a frequency. Every thought, every emotion, every physical object, every person, every experience. And once you consistently vibrate at, what you embody, what you carry in your field, is what you will draw into your life. Not just attract, but resonate with. And there's a difference. Attraction is magnetic. It's like a pull from the outside. Resonance is more like a tuning fork. You know how when you strike a tuning fork and hold it near another tuning fork of the same frequency, the second one starts to vibrate on its own without even being touched. That's resonance. You become the frequency and reality reorganizes itself around you. And how this is personal for me is for so long, I carried a lot of hidden beliefs about worth, about whether I was truly lovable, about whether good things really were available for me, or if they were just for other people, but not quite for me. I didn't walk around saying these things out loud. I was doing the work, and I looked like I was thriving, but underneath, there was this low hum of unworthiness, this quiet frequency of not quite enough. And it showed up everywhere, in the opportunities that almost happened but didn't, in the relationships that had so much potential but kept hitting a ceiling, in the way that I would self-sabotage right when things were starting to get really good, because some part of me was more in resonance with struggle than with ease. And it wasn't until I started doing the deeper energy work, clearing trapped emotions, addressing subconscious beliefs stored in my body, that the frequency started to shift. And when it shifted, things changed. Not all at once, not dramatically overnight, but there was this undeniable movement, like a river that had been dammed up for a long time and finally finding its flow again. The law of resonance teaches us that outer transformation follows inner transformation, always. You cannot build a life that exceeds your energetic frequency, not sustainably, and not in a way that feels true. This is why so many people find that even when they achieve the external thing that they've been working toward, the money, the relationships, the success, they don't feel what they thought they would feel. This is because the inner frequency hasn't matched the outer reality yet. There's dissonance, and dissonance is exhausting. So the work, the real work, is to tend to your inner frequency, to ask yourself, what am I actually vibrating? What are the emotions I'm living in most consistently? What are these stories and beliefs running in the background of my life? Because those are the things shaping your reality. Not your vision boards and not your affirmations, though these are important and they're great tools. The frequency that you embody is what resonates. What you are is what you attract. And here's the most hopeful thing that I can tell you about this law. Frequency can be changed. Energy can be shifted and trapped emotions can be released. Your subconscious beliefs can be updated. The body's field can be cleared and realigned. I see it happen in sessions all the time. It's real and it's possible. And of course, it's available for you. Okay, so the third law. This one might be my favorite, honestly, because it's the one that gave me permission to stop waiting for the right time and just move. So, symmetry breaking. This one comes from physics and complexity science, and it describes the moment that a system has been in a state of equilibrium, a state of sameness, of balance, or stasis, suddenly breaks from that state and reorganizes into something entirely new. Let me give you a picture of this in nature, because nature illustrates this so beautifully. Think about water at exactly 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Right at the freezing point, water is in a state of symmetry. It could go either way, liquid or solid. But the moment the temperature drops, even one fraction of a degree, something shifts. Ice crystals begin to form, and once that first crystal forms, it happens fast. The whole system reorganizes. The water becomes ice. Or think about the moment before a flower blooms. The bud is closed and everything is held. There's a kind of perfect contained stillness. And then something tips. Some internal signal, some threshold is crossed, and the petals begin to open. You cannot unsee the bloom. There is no going back to the bud. That is symmetry breaking. And here's why this matters so deeply for us humans. As healers and as people on a growth path, there is a point of healing and transformation where we have done the inner work. We have cleared the layers. We have shifted the frequency. We have stretched our capacity. And then we sit at a threshold, a state of equilibrium. Everything is held in balance, but it's a delicate balance. We are right at the edge. And what symmetry breaking tells us is that you don't need a massive leap. You just need to tip the scales. You just need one small movement, one courageous conversation, or one new direction, one moment of choosing differently, and the whole system reorganizes. The transformation cascades. I think about moments in my life where symmetry broke, where I made one decision, sometimes a terrifying one, sometimes a quiet one, and everything changed after that. Leaving relationships that had kept me small, starting my practice, saying yes to something before I felt ready. Each of those moments felt enormous at the time, but looking back, they were just the tipping point. The first ice crystal. Everything else followed. And I think about clients that I work with who come to me after years of trying to change something, a pattern, a belief, a physical symptom, and they've done so much work, so much. And they feel frustrated because nothing seems to be breaking through yet. What I want to say to them and to you, if you're in this place right now, is this. You may be closer than you think. You may be right at the threshold. All that work that you've done isn't lost. It's been building pressure, building potential. And sometimes the work of healing is just staying in it long enough for the symmetry to break. So many people stop before it breaks. And you don't have to force it. You don't push harder. You tend to the conditions. You keep showing up. You keep clearing. You keep choosing, and then in a moment that you often can't predict, something shifts. The petals open, the ice crystals form, and you look around at your life and realize, I'm not who I once was. That is the gift of symmetry breaking, and it is available for every single one of us. Let's weave these three laws together because I think they tell a beautiful story when we can see them side by side. So the law of requisite variety asks you to stay flexible, to release your grip on how things are supposed to look, and trust that your ability to adapt is your greatest strength. And the law of resonance asks you to tend to your inner world, to do the deep work of clearing what no longer belongs in your field, and consciously cultivate the frequency of what you want to create. And then symmetry breaking reminds you that you are always closer than you think, that transformation doesn't always look like a dramatic upheaval. Sometimes it's a quiet, invisible buildup until the moment everything reorganizes into something new. Together, these laws paint a picture of life lived in partnership with how the universe actually works. Not forcing, not controlling, but flowing, resonating, and being willing to tip into the new. So, again, these are the laws that I come back to when I'm in doubt, when I'm frustrated, when I'm sitting at the edge of something and I'm not sure whether to leap. I hope these serve you in the way that they have served me. If this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs it. And if you want to go deeper, if you feel ready to start clearing the energetic blocks that might be keeping you in old frequencies, I would love to sit with you in a session. The emotion code and the body code work is some of the most profound work that I know for shifting resonance at the root level. So until next time, beautiful soul, stay flexible, tend to your frequency, and trust that you are always on the edge of your next bloom. I'll see you next time.